Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Mind Over Money, a show where we talk about how ways meditation, yoga, and behavioral science can help you become a better and a more efficient trader, investor, as well as a better human being. Well, my name is Shadanand, and today we have with us a very special guest, Jimeet Modi, who is the founder and CEO of Samco Group. Now, the Samco Group is a leading wealth tech and investing service platform. Jimeet is a chartered financial analyst and a rank holder, chartered accountant from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now, today we'll be talking about on ways on one should keep mentally fit. Now, to take the conversation forward, let me call the man himself. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thank you so much, Sitish. Thank you so much for having me, and it's my pleasure to be here talking about generally how share my experiences around how do I manage my mental health during my whole trading and investing experience.
Welcome to the show, Jimeet, and always pleasure to speak to you. Now, with decades of experience, under your belt, how do you keep yourself mentally fit?
So I think I have a fairly simple funda as far as keeping myself mentally fit is concerned. I focus on two things for mental fitness. First is a great sound sleep, and second is making sure that I at least find 30 to 45 minutes to work out or exercise in some format. And I think these two habits have served me well. So and I think for 8 hours of sound sleep is extremely essential, because effectively when you're in the trading and investing business, you are in the business of decision making, right? You have to constantly keep making decisions, and you need your mind to be fresh at all points of time. And I've found that sound sleep sort of helps me do that. And I think the second aspect is exercise. And I prefer two things. Either if I'm too stressed out, I prefer going out for a quick 30-minute, 45-minute run or a jog. Or I love swimming as well, so I prefer to sometimes go out for a swim, and that allows me to completely sort of relax myself and switch off for a bit, so that I can free my mind for either the next day or for the next few hours.
Right. Now, I've also heard that you love reading books as well as blogs, audiobooks, and podcasts. Are there any interesting books that you've come across, that investors should also read about it?
So I think generally investors should keep reading a variety of books, and they not necessarily need to be just investment related books. I think you can learn a lot about business in general, how business managers behave and what they've learned from over a period of time. So for example, there was, if you're a beginner starting out, you could start with the age-old books such as One Up on Wall Street, or Philip Fisher's books. There have been a few recently written books. There's one particular book that was written by a chap called Brian Feroldi. I can't recollect the name earlier this year, but that was a great book for investing. And generally, as I said, just books about business management and so on. I think those are books that are very interesting from an investor and general business point of view.
Absolutely. And we did talk about the exercise earlier in the show, but exercise is definitely a great way to keep mentally fit. What is the regime that you usually follow on a daily or a weekly basis?
So I think on a daily basis, I try and make sure that in the morning right away I start with working out. So either, as I said, the first thing when I'm up in the morning, I'm either off for running or off for swimming, and only once I'm back then I go to office or start my day working, and that sort of sets the context, because it helps me be active and clears my mind as I begin my day.
Absolutely. Now, what triggered sort of focus on the mental health? Was there any trigger that you can actually recollect?
So I think generally not a trigger specifically, but what I've observed is that when I am stressed, or for that matter, generally having a bad day, that leads to poor decision making, and that has sometimes showed up in my trading and investing. And you've seen that you have gone out someday and made a revenge trade just for the fact that you were generally having a bad day, and that snowballed into a worse day.
Yes.
And then that's when I realized that sometimes you need to sort of completely shut your mind, clear your head, and so that you don't make unnecessarily mistakes. And because we are in a business where we will go wrong a lot of times. Nobody's going to be right all the time. So you have to have that focus on mental health, so that you are mentally prepared to face a loss and then move ahead and take it in your stride and go ahead. And I think the occupation and the profession itself demands such strong focus and emphasis on managing your mind and emotion, that sort of triggered me to make sure that I have a proper regime in place, so that I'm taking care of myself, and not just ignoring that aspect.
No, definitely. In fact, golden words from you, Jimeet, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers who are actually watching this episode would actually they'll be able to relate to this fact that you talk about revenge trade, and you talk about whenever if there are a lot of times when we itself go wrong in our decision making, or sometimes the trade that we've taken, it's not going the way that it should have been going, and then we end up making a wrong decision, and it all snowballs into something much more worse. But definitely, I think it's a good point, and our viewers should take note of that. Now, lastly, what would you recommend investors or traders to do in the year 23, and what could be the ideal New Year resolution?
So I think the ideal New Year resolution from an investor or trader point of view is that pick a setup, pick a style of trading or investing that works for you, and stick to it. And if wait for it, you need to have holding power in the sense that don't jump into trading just for the fear of missing out. You'll see all sorts of things around you. You'll see, oh, there's a great budget, elections, and lots of things. But only actually get into trades and investments which suit your style, your strategy, and don't unnecessarily force yourself into trades. I think that is one thing. And secondly, if you think that the markets are not in your favor and not in your favoring your style and strategy, and you have to sit out of the markets for a bit, as an individual investor, investors have that power. Sometimes professional money managers cannot just take 100% cash calls and sit on the sidelines, but individual investors have that power, and they should use that power so that they only take trades which suit their style, and it's going to require a lot of mental resolve to not get sucked into the whole FOMO emotion, as and when that happens. So just be patient, wait for your opportunity, strike when the opportunity comes, and so basically you've got to behave like a tiger, so to speak. A tiger essentially waits for its opportunity for a long period of time and makes his move only at the last. And I think that is the behavior that investors should resolve to have for 2023.
Right. Well, on that note, thank you so much for your time, Jimeet. And that's all for now, but do stay logged on to etmarkets.com for more on news, business, and economy. Thank you so much for your time, Jimeet.
Thank you so much, Adesh. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.